All right, determine all vertical asymptotes. This is a pre-calc question. Not sure why it's here. So remember back to pre-calc. So the vertical asymptotes are when the bottom is going to equal 0. So you might look at it and say, like, all right, we might have 2 because after we factor it, we'll have 2. But again, you did this in pre-calc all the time. Remember, like, what's going to happen is when you factor the top and you factor the bottom, one of them is going to cancel out. So in this case, 2 is not a vertical asymptote. So we're going to have a hole at x equals 2. But since it canceled out, that's not going to be a vertical asymptote. Our only vertical asymptote is going to be x equals negative 2. And you think back to limits of how these limits always work. Like the limit of this function as x approaches 2 of f of x, it exists. We can actually say what it's equal to, because now that we canceled out the x minus 2, we can just plug in 2 and see that it's equal to 6 over 4, or 3 halves. So since the limit is defined at that x value, there's definitely not a vertical asymptote there. However, as x approaches negative 2, we see that's still a problem, because even after you simplify it to be x plus 4 over x plus 2, you still can't plug in negative 2 into there. And there's no way you're going to make it to where that is going to be able to plug in negative 2. And that's because there's a vertical asymptote. So this limit does not exist. So that's that's important to remember, but you know that. You remember that. You got to factor and you got to find the holes. Because just because it's on the bottom, it might cancel out. And if it cancels out, it's not a vertical asymptote. It's just a hole in the graph.